Well, good morning. I'm David Coombe with the CBS AM Debrief this Thursday, the 31st of March, end of the month, end of the quarter. Overnight market action. Dow closed up quite nicely. In fact, it's up at a 6-week high. The ADP employment numbers were pretty encouraging there, and that augurs well for the non-farms payrolls data out on a Friday night, being the first Friday of the month. We can expect those numbers, and that's what everyone will be looking towards. And certainly the indications are that could be a bit of a cracker. So getting some good strength on the back of this. Also had a fairly good move from AT&T, up 2.2%, on news that they expect some divestitures of their assets in order to pay that $39 billion bill for the buyout of T-Mobile from Deutsche Telekom. In the other regions, we saw similar good moves, but just coming back here to the screen there clearly needs a bit of a refresh. Sorry about that. Loading up. Maybe we'll move on to the commodity space here. Oh no, here we go. Skip that. Okay, that looks a bit more like what I was just talking about. Okay, up Dow up 71.60, S&P 500 up 8.82 or 6.7%, Nasdaq up 0.72, and the rest of the Americas up quite strongly there as well. Eurozone standout here was the DAX up 1.77%. Not entirely sure why we got that outperformance there, but pretty impressive. FTSE up just 0.27, and Milan up 1.01, and anything else there that stands out? Perhaps the CAC at nearly 1% there. Our close yesterday was really quite good, up 66 points. Nice to see that kind of a move. And the Hang Seng up a bit more, 1.70, and the Nikkei up 2.64. We'll just move on now to see what the futures are suggesting. So a little bit of follow through on the local market. The SPY is suggesting a move up 23. Hang Seng up quite a big move again, 395, and the Nikkei up a further 60. Take a look at the commodities here, with crude off just slightly, $1.42. So we seem to be finding this $104, $105 level to be sort of where it's at, to the top side for now. Natural gas down just 2.9 cents. In the other hards and softs, looks like the move was mostly to the downside. The bigger move has been corn, down 2.68, sugar down 2.91, and rough rice down 2.83, soy meal down 1.01, and then significant rises here. Really not much to mention there. Let's have a look at the metals. Copper at $4.35 a pound, down 6.9 cents, which is nearly a just over 1.5% move. Gold came off $1,421.30, down $6.30, and silver at 37.088 was just up a fraction at 0.11%. Currency pairs, a little bit of a move here on some US dollar strength against the yen at now buying 81.7358 JPY. The pound buying 1.5991 rather US dollars, and the euro buying 1.4083. Try and slow up a little bit here. The Aussie buying 1.0244 unmoved, and the US dollar buying 0.79784, and finally the US dollar buying 0.9169 Swiss francs. Okay, move over here now and have a look at our economic calendar. Let's move that out of the way. So we've already got data out on US inventories. That was the unemployment or employment numbers last night that I mentioned earlier. The job cuts there and the employment change actually $201,000. It's actually slightly less than expectations, but I guess that was deemed to be pretty good nonetheless. Okay, just moving on now to a little bit of the US Fed's minutes or speech rather. Then some consumer confidence numbers out of the UK for March. Then we've got some Bismarck House numbers out here, housing approvals for February, month-on-month and year-on-year sector credit, all out locally at around 10:30 and 11:30 this morning. So it'll be some of the sectors there perhaps watching that reasonably closely. Japanese built vehicle production and housing starts due out later this afternoon, and then going into the UK, house prices year on year, month on month, and then quite a lot of data out of the Eurozone, CPI numbers, and then going into this evening we've got GDP numbers out of Canada, and then jobless data a little bit later after that, and then of course going into tomorrow, as mentioned earlier, we have the non-farms payrolls right there. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the Falcon Trader here to have a look at a couple of trades that we saw yesterday doing a vector best search on premium growth stocks for Australia, and was pulling up a number of the banks, but to my eye the best looking one technically is ANZ. Still potentially a lot of room to move here to the upside, whereas it seems like all the others really don't have to move all that far before they start to hit some pretty regularly hit levels of resistance. Similarly, Bendigo and Adelaide Bank, looking pretty good I think. So perhaps yeah, a good 50, well 60, 70, maybe 80 cents perhaps up here before we start to run into significant resistance there, and we can have a stop loss down underneath this level here at 850. I guess that's 90 cents risk to a similar number to the upside, so maybe the risk reward ratio is not that spectacular for this trade. Alternately, perhaps you could put a stop in around this low area here. Don't know, maybe ANZ's a better bet there. The other one that came up that I quite liked the look of was Harvey Norman. Now, everyone's been talking about this move to the internet for online purchasing, and of course that does affect their electrical or electronics sector, but that actually only makes up a reasonably small amount of Harvey Norman sales, albeit an important and growing part. But the vast majority of stuff that's sold through Harvey Norman stores is the big items, the beds, the washing machines, the refrigerators, and barbecues and lounge suites and kitchen refurbs and all that sort of stuff. So really I think this might have been a little bit overdone in light of some of that news. Of course they are opening up their online store there, got an incredible presence around the country, and as long as the economy is doing okay there, I think we should see this continue to move a bit higher here, and don't mind the look of that either. Then there was one or two others, Fairfax News, or Fairfax Media rather. Okay, so when we look at where that's been, yeah, we're certainly closer to the lower side perhaps than to the upper side there. And then that actually, they were the sort of main picks there on vector there, so I'm going to leave that there and say, as always, thanks for your attention. Hope you found that worthwhile, and until next time, bye for now.